Welcome everyone to the Break Knyte Creative. I am Craven Knight and I am here to show you the cool projects and activities that I like to do and how I like to do them. This one is a show and tell. I haven't been able to really dabble in all the cool stuff that I love to make lately. Really, it's just been all work and commissions. I'm transitioning from a new day job and taking on commissions for wrestling gear. Pretty much doing stuff that I've already recorded and showed you, so I don't feel the need to just show you all over again. I figured I should do a show and tell on some of the cool stuff that I've made, but I've never recorded. So one of the cool things is, so one of my first attempts at making a prop using EVA foam, and that is my Loki God of Mischief mask. Here it is. It has a wire here, as you saw in the first clip. I took it off the wall, put that wire in there and just stuck it in there just so I could hang it on the wall. It's one of my favorite pieces because it's something I've wanted ever since I was a little kid. I even tried making this when I was a little kid out of aluminum foil, of all things, and even out of paper. Try making a little 3D model out of paper and coloring it and all that. I remember like it was yesterday. Last year, I put this together in my first attempts of using EVA foam just to make fun props that I just want to collect and just want to hold on to and just practice and hone my craft as far as putting these types of things together. And it's really what it's for, and you look at it just from a distance and it looks amazing. Certain things I would have done differently, but this was my first attempt and I thought it was so good it's definitely worth hanging on the wall. All my first attempts are just kind of hanging around. Let's dive a little bit deeper. Alright, so I'm sorry for the mess here. I'm currently working on stuff, and as I work, I tend to make a mess, as we do. But here is my Loki mask. Here, and then both sides aren't really even. I really didn't think it was meant, it's meant to really be even. Really, it's 3 pieces of EVA foam that I did. And you look in the back here, you can see the seams. I used some hot glue to cover up some seams, but I mainly use barge cement to put them together, cutting angles, putting them in there, and using a Dremel to carve where necessary. And same case for the front. As you see here, there's some detail in there, some lining, stuff that I did. And what I did with this was use a wood carving tool to make these giant indentation here. And really, if you look on the mask, it has those little indentations. And I really tried to copy whatever cool image that I saw online. I had one image and I just tried to go off of it. So pretty much try to 3D sketch and try to copy it detail for detail best I could. There's certain things, like I think it should be a little bit flatter instead of having this little indent in here that kind of carries over. It kind of makes me think of hair in a way. So if I do another one, it will definitely be a little bit more straighter instead of that. But I use really thick EVA foam for this. So I had a lot of playroom as far as carving and doing the details for the eye holes. Just using a Dremel and just carving those indentations in there, and then taking an X-Acto knife and just making the lines and using a heat gun to expand those lines a little bit more, and then on top of that using the wood carving tool to get those lines in there. Same thing for the mouth. The mouth is a different story. I kind of did the mouth in reverse of what I did with the eyes. So I just kind of carved it from the back on the inside. And I didn't worry about the back looking perfect so much, because really it's meant to just be displayed like this. And then the centerpiece I knew was going to be the piece that stood out. It's going to be like the steel piece that is on there that has the 4 circles. It has the L and then these little details. And if you look at this compared to the mask from the movie, you can see it's pretty damn close, because I did my best to really copy that image. Now the circle isn't spot on, but I did what I could with just using an X-Acto knife to carve it and then expand it with a heat gun, and then making the little shapes with thin foam and then just crazy gluing it on there. And then mainly just I think because I was in the apartment when I made this, I didn't really have a space to kind of use certain things. So I believe what I used was Mod Podge. I used Mod Podge to cover this to make it kind of like a sealant to paint over very easily, so the paint can adhere to the foam better instead of just kind of seeping through it. And so I put Mod Podge all over it, and then I did the green paint, and then I painted this part like a cool silver while weathering it. Found this in a lake or a pond, so it had to be very dirty. It's very old, so it has to have a really cool weathered look to it. And I thought, I really think this really has a cool, really dirty steel look to it, so or iron look or whatever it is. So so I really think I made it a lot thicker than it needed to be. I really love how it came out. I think it'd be cool to add some really bright green coloring on the inside of this to kind of make it look like it's almost being put on, and that those effects are happening where it's brightening up. But other than that, I think it's a really cool piece. I really like it. I hope you guys like it as well. It's something I've always wanted, and I'm so happy that I have, and it's such a great conversation piece, and it's a cool piece to look at, and I would love to make another one of these for someone else. To have the Ace Ventura hair piece, which is one of my favorite movies, and this mask piece from The Mask, that is one of my favorite movies. Since Jim Carrey is one of my favorite comedic actors of all time, I just love having pieces from his movies that I cherish in my heart. So that is it for the Loki God of Mischief mask from the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey, one of my favorite movies. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the piece. You can definitely follow me on the social medias as @BreakKnyteCreative on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and you can see all the projects that I'm doing and keep up. But if you go onto those, you will see that I have a podcast, a Break Knyte podcast that I do with my buddy Sean Iredale of Amberland Studios, his own comic book company, where he produces his own content, where we talk about being creative and all things that inspire us to be creative, so you can hear us go in depth on things like this, or things like this, or things like this, his comic book. Thanks again. Follow on all the social media. Everything is linked below. Check out everything that we're working on. And it's time to PART. Why? Because I gotta.